It is 6 o'clock. I'd like to call this regular meeting, or really a call meeting, I don't know.
It's a regular
meeting, but it's on a different night. Mulberry City Commission to order. It is Tuesday, September 8th. It is 6 p.m. If you would please rise for an invocation, followed by the pledge. Thank you, Pastor Stan.
You're welcome. Good evening, Commissioners. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for tonight and the blessings that you give. We think especially about the rain and how much we've needed that. We give you thanks that you are sending it to us. We pray that you continue your favor over this city by continuing to extend blessings to all of its citizens. And we pray for this group tonight that their meeting would be one guided and directed by your wisdom, your compassion. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. A reminder that the microphones are not working, so Mr. Speak Up. Roll call, Madam.
Commissioner Knight?
Here.
Commissioner McClintock?
Here.
Commissioner Devine?
Here.
Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Dolan?
Here.
Mayor Hatch?
Here.
Attorney Crawford?
Present.
City Manager Johnson?
Here.
First on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from our budget workshop on August 16th, our regular meeting on August 16th, and our special meeting on August 23rd. What's your pleasure, Commissioner, for approval? Do we have to do separate? No. Motion's okay.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Devine, seconded by Commissioner McClintock. Is there any further comments on any of those? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. And I will ask Laura to come on down for our library report. Remember to speak up.
Laura Holton, Library Director. So the first is a picture that I'll explain later of a special program that we did in August.
Uh-oh.
We can hit it. No, keep going. Okay, there it goes. I'll say next. For August, we had 2,430 patrons. We had 223 people use the computer for 135 hours of computer time. We had 11 individual tech appointments. For circulation, we had 7,075 physical items checked out and 434 digital items checked out. So just 7,000 is a huge number when it's not during the summer. They had gone back to school. Next. So for August, we took a break from in-person programming to transition to fall. So we did take-home kits. And so each week we did a different take-home kit related to something that would help them go back to school. So we see pictures that they had writing journals one week, decorated pencil another week, create a bookmark another week. So for story time, we tried a different thing of sensory play. So sensory play is activities that help preschoolers with the 5 senses. So there is a purpose. It's not just play. You call it play, but there is meaning and purpose behind this. So ours focused on touch, and then later, because it was a success, we will do other sensory plays and focus on the other senses. But you create activities that help them even just pouring the water, helps them with balance, which balance leads to other things. So everything is connected. Blowing bubbles helps them form their mouth, and forming their mouth helps with pronunciation of words. So that's when it's purposeful. Even though it looks fun and it was fun, there is purpose behind the activities. So we had 3 different stations outside. So each of the kiddie pools, we had rubber ducks with scooping, water beads was touch, and then the bubbles, a big kiddie pool full of bubbles was helping the mouth formation. And so part of the other thing that you do with sensory play is that you also create a calming area for children when they get too overwhelmed that they can go to that calming area. So inside the pavilion, we had a calming area, and that was where we had smaller bubbles and we had books related to playing. That is sensory play. You'll see in the next few slides some pictures of that. So you'll see the different pictures. So I think the adults liked the bubbles the most, but the kids liked the touching the balls and scooping the rubber duckies. So it was very interesting. The moms were sitting there with the bubbles, but the kids just love the rubber duckies and just scooping the water. So there's another picture. So these are our fall programs, or what we're doing for the school year for the kids. Last month we went over our new adult programs. This is what we're doing for the school year. So every Wednesday is story time at 9:30 and 10:30. We are doing our Spanish story time on the fourth Thursday of the month at 10:30. Then for elementary programs, the elementary programs fall on Mondays and Thursdays. So Pokemon Club is the first and third Monday of the month, and then Read with Persia is now going to be twice a month, and that is going to be the second and fourth Monday. So, and then you'll see that we have repeated programs, but we just do them at the different ages. So Pencil Expression is our writing club, where we help them do writing activities in a fun way. We're focusing this year on all our activities, playing games, as well as doing some other activities, literacy and writing. So Pencil Expression for elementary is on Thursday. Today we had Book and Craft, so that's the second Thursday of the month. Then for all our K-12 book clubs, we are doing genres this year, so we are not selecting a specific book to read, but we are doing genres. So Reading Detectives is the third Thursday, and then Game On for Kids is the fourth Thursday, where they just work on social interaction and playing games. So these are middle school and high school. So middle school falls on Tuesdays, and high school falls on Wednesdays. So they both have a pencil expression. Their creative project is the literacy and the craft component. That's the the third week. Second Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And then the Game On is also their social time at the end of the month. And then their book clubs are the third Tuesday and the third Wednesday. And you'll see this is the slide of the different genres. So the first month in September is book tasting, where we will sample all the different genres, and then you see a breakdown that, for example, in October, they can select a science fiction book, and then they will talk about the science fiction book that they read, kind of book talk it, convince someone else to read it, and then we will play a game based that helps them understand that genre. So that's for the school year. And then just a picture, we have new baskets, so that if people have a lot of books, then they can fill the basket, and Bethany has the challenge of fill as many books as you can fit in that basket. That's how many you can check out, because again, we have unlimited checkout. It's what you can carry out the door. So remember, we are fine free, so they can fit a lot in those books. So it's a picture of the baskets. And then lastly, we have a lot of books to get rid of. John can back me up, because we have filled up our storage, filled up his storage. That the Friends of the Library book sale is Friday, September 23rd, 9 to 4:30, and then Saturday from 9 to 11:30. So we have lots of books. Last week we had 20 boxes of books donated, so they keep bringing boxes. And so please come and support the library and help us create more storage. Any
Thank you,
questions?
Come on down, Miss Chelsea.
Good evening, Commission. That's the wrong date, isn't it? Because I'm in denial that it's September. I don't know if anyone else is. So, Chelsea, I'm going to pull had 2 rentals, the gym theater had 4. The Civic Center had 4 rentals, as well as our early election voting and the primary voting. And we also hosted at the gym theater youth leadership and toured Senior Citizen Winter Haven Methodist tour, which the mayor got some shout outs on that tour. They all knew who you were, and I got to say I knew who you were too, so we had some fun. This is, I think, a great picture. It was shared on Polk Vision, which hosts youth leadership. The gym theater was able to sponsor this event because Mulberry had the most students represented graduating, so it was very, it was a special honor to be able to have that at the gym, and it was a really lovely event. And congratulations to all of those that graduated this past year. We had an exhibit opening at the Cultural Center by Gary Weiser. It's all portraits of different mediums, which we've never done before by the same artist. It's really beautiful. We had an excellent exhibit opening. We're continuing to show that we're the place to come view art, so we're having people who aren't necessarily connected with the artist or with an organization, they're just coming repeatedly to our exhibit openings, and that's been great to see that we have that full now. Edible Science is one of our newer programs that we did. We weren't able to get a lot of pictures this year, but we had our Geography for Kids this month, not this year. Geography for Kids, Wild Wednesday, and Edible Science that looked at candy DNA, which was gummy bears on Twizzlers, and you got to, of course, eat it, which is the best part of Edible Science. At the gym, we had Sing 2 for our family flicks. We showed The Godfather in honor of the 50th anniversary, and our dinner and movie was sold out. Thank you to those that came. It was a blast from the past and the future. Lots of good times with that one. We also hosted Bruce the Magician to sort of end our summer at the beginning of the month. We also collected back to school supplies that we gave to the Community Service Center right before their drive was the next Saturday, so that was a lot of fun. And he was very good. And of course, last Friday, if you were there, we had Dwight Eisenhower as Elton John in concert at the gym. It was sold out. It was incredible. We love the support. Of course, very talented and so nice to work with. It makes our job so much easier when we get talent like that. And we're having him, of course, back in March. Mark your calendars for October 1st. That is Mulberry's Hispanic Heritage Festival. It will be 10 till 2 at Spence Park. Lots of vendors with lots of good food. I'm very excited to say. And we'll, of course, have music and crafts and a lot of fun celebrating that part of our community. And the night before, sort of like the afternoon before actually, is an early release day. So partnering with the library, the gym theater is going to show Disney's Encanto on the big screen, as well as, I believe, a writing prompt, if I got it right with Jenny, and then a craft that they're going to be able to do to make that. Hopefully we draw the crowd that's getting out early to come see that show. And I'm so excited about this. This is so cool, and mostly because my department doesn't have to do that much work. Prehistoricon is coming to Mulberry. So if you have been paying attention the last 10 years, Sci-Fi Bartow has grown leaps and bounds and brings in so much attraction to the Bartow area, and that group has become an LLC of doing conventions, and they had come to a showing of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea at the gym and saw that the ice cream shop was awesome and all that we had going on, and had asked, we have the fossils at the museum, and they were already thinking about having a fossils and steampunk convention. And I was like, I think if you write a proposal, we could get really excited about that. And so we did, or they did, they presented. Rick went over it, the proposal, and so April 22nd will be Prehistoricon in Mulberry, which hopefully will be an annual event. Very, very excited. It'll be in the Backlot Commons washrooms. We'll have a screening of probably Jurassic Park or a similar movie that night. And the vendors I've already heard they're lining up, they're very excited. They're coming from all over. And again, the LLC does a lot of the work, and I don't have to, so we're very excited. And it's going to just be a really cool thing to also highlight the Phosphate Museum's really phenomenal fossil display as well. I know that was quick and dirty because, again, I'm in denial in September, and I was out for Labor Day, and then I had a sick day. So are there any? Oh, Teen Advisory Board also has applications up. I will be someone will be reaching out to all of the commissioners to ask when would be a good time for you to speak to them as we get those applications in. You can tell me to kick rocks if you don't want to, but we would love to have you speak to our future leaders as leaders now. And if you see it on social media, please share it for those applications. They are due the 24th of September. Any questions?
What's the age?
High school students. Sticking just with high school, not most of this year. And it's for 2 years. All right, thank you so much.
I just had a question, Chelsea. She's just gonna come back a little bit. What's this magician's name?
Bruce?
Kind of looks a little bit like our finance director.
Yeah, looks like John.
I saw this weird one day.
Out of all the things I thought you were going to say, that's fine. Not sure where that was going to go. But he is he's just moved to Mulberry, and he is local, so, and he has a whole business doing this, so definitely would recommend him.
Oh, you're talking about this guy, not John.
Yeah, I recommend John. John just doesn't live here, but totally recommend him for all your financial meetings. Other questions? This is my day job.
Thank you, Joe. Next on the agenda, I assume is talk about 303 Mulberry. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, actually, what we're gonna do is, we met, if you recall, we put a committee together, an committee with a commission liaison, who was Commissioner McClintock. And, we met for at least a couple hours. We took all the social media recommendations from, Facebook and wherever, maybe there's somewhere else, I don't know. We had a huge list, a couple of hundred, tallied them up.
Wow.
And so, Maria is gonna present 3 options to you guys that the top 3, is that what was it, 5?
Yes.
3 for you guys to choose from, so you don't have to get into 5-hour discussions on what we would name it. You guys, we had the blessing of the commission, the rest of the commission, to put this committee together. You guys will like the, hopefully. Go ahead, Maria.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just wanted to start by saying thank you to my fellow commissioners for allowing me to be on this committee. It was a lot of fun. We talked for about 2 hours or so. We went through almost 200 suggestions, and Chelsea was kind enough to put together, what would you call it, a schematic?
A metric.
A metric. So that we could look at not only just the entries that were suggested, but also, you know, how many likes, how many comments, so what was kind of more popular, and then we took all of those names and played around with them. And so what we decided is we really wanted to incorporate the address, because that came up a lot, so the 303. And then we also, and this is perfect timing, we wanted to make a train reference because of the location of the building. And so, you know, we wanted something that was kind of uniquely Mulberry, but not necessarily Panthers or, you know, Mulberry itself. So what we came up with are, the top 3 names we have are Depot 303, Connection 303, and then simply the 303. We also discussed adding the words the and at in that. So for example, it would be like the depot at 303 or the connection at 303. So that's going to be open for discussion for you all, but those are the 3 names that we have. So Depot 303, Connection 303, and then just the 303.
My 2 cents. I'm all about connection, so I would like to say Connection 303 or the Depot Connection 303.
So you like the word connection?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All about connecting.
I think that, I like all 3. So I came up with the connection to Depot at 303. It's a long game,
But you went on the community,
So out of the three, which is your preference?
but Depot,
Okay.
I like Steve.
Yeah.
Coco?
authority.
That's okay.
Sounds great. So,
And my vote was on the word connection as well. So we'll kind of sling that back to the city manager, because that didn't really give you an answer, did it?
Well, the way we look at it, it's 2-3, so majority wins.
Well, the mayor gets to vote on this.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Policy, so you can weigh in, but I think you did say.
I like the depot 303.
I know that there was a lot of people that really wanted us to incorporate on Facebook, that wanted us to incorporate the phosphate industry, and there was things like phosphate pit and so on. It's just not a real attractive sounding place to be. Hitting the word pit in it probably wasn't really good.
And I think when you're including train, you're in, to me, you're including phosphate.
Well, yeah, you're incorporating, because the trains are probably going to be there forever.
And one thing we have discovered in this city, those of you that have lived here very long, as long as the trains are running in Mulberry's economy is working. I mean, I remember this 15, 20 years ago, the train stopped and the economy quit. So, trains are important to Mulberry.
So it looks like Depot 303,
Yes.
because this is going out to bid shortly. I met with the engineers and folks that are kind of preparing the bid documents for us, and they'd like to attach a name to it. So,
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Can we clarify, do you all just like the two, like the Depot 303, or do you like the Depot at 303?
well, I just kind of want to say, it'd be kind of hard to take away and I'm thinking of the mining interior of it. And as you look at that sign out there, it says City of Mulberry, all that is connected. And then you did away with that. It seems like it kind of take away from our original name. So will that fit into what you all suggested?
I think Depot brings up train big time,
Yeah.
train depot.
I mean, I'm happy with what you do. I'm just kind of.
We could have an outline of a train around.
I like the word "the" in front of it too.
Yeah.
I do. The Depot 303.
Like I said, I'm happy with whatever we decide.
How do you feel about that? Not
I
depot.
don't want to add in. No.
Yeah, you could make it a little, the sentence, you don't really need it.
well, we're hoping that once this thing gets cranking, I know this is real wishful thinking, that when we have all these restaurants and so on in there, people will just start saying, hey, we're going to the 303 for lunch, or we're going to the Depot for lunch, or whatever.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that it'll flow a little bit. We also didn't really want to alienate potential people from outside coming in to rent space in there by having the word pit in there. So we're trying to make it where it could, I mean, like for instance in Lakeland, there's 1961. That's based on the year that the gentleman maybe was born, or when he came to the
When his parents
came.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just like, it doesn't mean anything, but everybody knows that name, and that place has only been there for a few years.
Yeah.
So we're hoping it'll be kind of one of those, everything will kind of roll.
Right.
So the Depot 303.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just gotta congratulate the group that was working on it. I think they
I was going to tell them, thank you.
way out of line to bring this to us.
Come up, reduce 200 and something names to 3, or to 1 now.
Task.
Because, that's a monumental tax.
Well, some of them we
It
threw
was
out right away.
interesting, yeah, it was interesting.
There was one like, it was called the George Hatchery.
Really?
We kind of,
We considered it.
I like Logan's hoagies, but
so there was a lot of words there that we did away with. We wanted to keep, the train right next to the train tracks and train crossing. And still honor that without putting
Who's talking about Reads Across America? Donate.
Well, I will make a motion that we donate 10 wreaths like we did last year to the American Legion Riders for the Wreaths Across America.
Do you know if they filled out a form, they may know, one of our donation forms that we, this is the first I've heard of this.
Mine too, that's what I was about to say, you know, we're just trying to.
10 reads is $150 according to the paper that's in the
So
packet.
they did put something in there, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
That's me. Okay.
10 for 150, let's make a motion to donate that.
Motion's made by Mr. Devine. Do I hear a second?
Second it.
Thank you. Seconded by Commissioner McClintock. Anyone in the audience wish to speak to this? What this is they take, that's 10 wreaths to put on markers at the National Cemetery up in Bushland. And,
Annual ride
Let
day.
me ask this,
I think it's a worthwhile project. Go ahead, Commissioner.
how would the city of Mulberry be honored or get some recognition from this, other than through, I guess it's your group that's.
It'd be through the American Legion.
I'm not a rider, so it's not my direct group.
I guess it would just be the American Legion itself that maybe would send
it
a
would be.
thank you letter or something, I imagine. I don't know. But I'll check into it for you.
Yeah, I just feel like we should get some kind of recognition from this, you know.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, we need to vote on it. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? So passed. And then I'm gonna turn the Acela proposed contract and Redmark proposed contract over to our illustrious attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. There are two items on the business, or two new business items on the day tonight. These are, you may recall this is being brought up a couple of meetings ago. This is the Acela contract with an associated Redmark contract. There are two items that are the same concept. So Acela is a computer program that is utilized by code enforcement officials throughout the county. Most notably, Polk County uses the Acela program. Acela allows for combined code enforcement and also other data relating to a property, so a building enforcement program, things of that nature. The Acela software component, when it was originally presented to us, would have been a $45,000 purchase, a 3-year contract, which is above your competitive bidding requirement in your code. And so we were ineligible to purchase that at the time whenever it was brought before us. So what has happened in the interim period, staff and I are working on a comprehensive modification to your procurement ordinance that's under review right now, that would change certain things like exempt software and other types of purchases from competitive requirements, because they really are apples and oranges. We deal with software. However, because the way that Acela works, and speaking with their officials or their contract negotiators, they would like to have us on their calendar to basically populate the system sometime before December, and to get that done, and also to take advantage of the pricing that Rick negotiated for this. They extended us a 2-year offer instead of a 3-year offer, which brings the price below the $40,000 threshold to the $30,000 mark, which is soundly within your discretion. There are a few issues with the Acela contract, and so I would like for just to kind of note those. There's no public records language in it. There's also no what we would call the identification language that's in favor of the city. There's just a few minor things that I need to quibble with their attorney about. However, having an action tonight approving the document and approving the purchase subject to my final approval would go a long way to getting this item on the license when it's the month of September. So there's a few things that need to be adjusted here on the contract, but what we're looking for tonight would be an approval of the general purchase of the Acela contract, or the Acela service, and again, subject to legal review of the contract.
I have a question really quickly, and this is just because I'm not familiar with purchasing software on this level. So does that mean that just for the 2 years is when you have access to the program, and then the 2 years is up, you have to pay?
Renew.
Okay.
Renew, yeah, you renew and renegotiate the terms.
So we don't like own the software?
No, this is a software as a service contract.
Okay.
So imagine as if it was a.
It's not like a program uploading to the computer.
Correct.
That's what I meant.
Correct. It's your license to use the software. You're paying the license.
So there's nothing.
The third year was priced at the same with 15,000. It was 45,000 was the proposed price. So roughly speaking.
So when you negotiate your final contract, you're gonna include language about ongoing renewals?
We can try and do that if you like. What the concern I have is that adding in the renewal language potentially puts that purchase price up against your mark where you have to competitively bid your contract. I mean, in a perfect world, what I would have liked to have had happen is to have brought you your procurement ordinance revisions so that you could exempt software purchases from your competitive bidding requirements. And that way you could enter into a 3-year contract with multiple year renewals and those type of things without having to be subject to your hard bid figures of $40,000. We aren't there yet, and so that ordinance is still under review and it still needs some polishing from your finance team. So where we're headed with that is that you'll eventually see it. To get this contract moving forward, however, staff's requested and the sellers requested that we get this on the agenda tonight. So that's where we're at. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, we'll find out in the third year whether they jack it up.
I mean, right. Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately the thing.
Do we need to do these separately, or?
We do. So one of the other items is that Rick negotiated a very excellent price for IT services in order to populate the Acela system. You'll notice that there's an 01 by Acela and an 02 by Redmark. Those are actually separate contracts. They were presented as one unified project, but they're technically separate services agreements. So they're both subject to separate caps. The Redmark package would be $29,000 in order to populate it with our city data.
In addition to the 29,000 you just spoke of.
Yeah, it'd be 15,000 the first year. For Acela, it'd be 14,000 the first year, 15,000 the second.
So, on the red mark, will 160 hours or 150 hours be all we need?
Well, we're shooting for the 160.
Okay.
That's
Just trying to get them to come off of that price a little bit, and they said that we could probably make it work fine with 150, 160 with a little bit in the middle of the road, I think 170 or something.
Yeah, $31,000 quote.
And so, what we're trying to do, and I don't, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong on this, Drew, maybe you know this better than I do, but the red mark is not, once all our information gets put in there, I don't think we're gonna have to continually,
No.
that's not that's a one-time setup fee.
Correct.
So, yeah, so the other thing is the 15,000 a year going forward. So it's code enforcement, it's permitting. The permitting, one of the big reasons that we really want to use that is because it'll make our permitting process in sync with the county's permitting process. And since we have a lot of things that kind of go hand in hand with the county, we collect their fees on various things and so on and so forth. It makes sense to use the same one that they use.
There's also a portal as well, so that building fees can be paid through the Acela Citizen portal. It makes collection items easier. Since the county has chosen this item of software as their preferred piece of information management software, builders in Polk County are familiar with it.
What's the advantage of having a renewing process as opposed to buying a standalone program?
gonna buy a standalone program. We've not found anything. This one isn't offered as a standalone program. If we could probably buy something else, but it wouldn't be in sync with the other stuff.
So it's the fact that we're integrating with other.
Part of one of the big advantages is the integration with the county, and then as well as, one of the big advantages is going to be as these developers, builders, and so on, as they submit permits, they can go in and check themselves the status of the permit. They don't have to call Ron and Billy and Bonnie and where is this thing? Is it, is it here? Is it with the fire department? The fire plan review, wherever it is. It'll have, everything will be populated, and they can do it in 2 o'clock in the morning if they want. So that'll cut down a little bit on manpower. I know we just hired, continue to have to hire more people, but that's, as you look around, you see everything being built. We're trying to do this. But cost benefit, make sure that, we're not overpaying, we're not hiring people that we're gonna have to lay off in 2 years or whatever. So this gives us a little flexibility as far as that's concerned as well.
Well, I think it's a good thing to get into, for some reason, all of the project that we got going. Would really help us to move forward a little bit quicker.
I'll make the motions to authorize $29,952 for the Excella software.
One, Acela.
Yeah.
I second that.
All right, motions.
My understanding is that it's also so that you permitting me to negotiate that contract to add in a few extra terms, correct?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, because there's a couple of things that you're not sure.
Yeah, I've got it. Unfortunately, it's missing certain things like Florida law has weird things where you have to have, there's the discriminatory vendor list, there's the scrutinized vendors that boycott Israel list, there's Sudan and Iraq list. I have to add some things to the contract.
Motion made by Commissioner Devine, seconded by Commissioner Smith. Is there anybody in the audience wishes to speak to this? Seeing no one approach, we will vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? It's passed.
The Red Mark contract does need your approval as well, Mayor. That's the next item of business, under new business. The Red Mark contract is the service contract we mentioned. The option that I believe the city is interested in pursuing is option number 2 for 160 hours. That's a roughly $29,000 purchase. This is again, as Rick mentioned, it's a one-time software, one-time service contract. There is not a continuing component to that.
That's to import the data.
Correct. To
And
build
also
the system.
the training as
And
well.
training.
Okay.
And so this contract needs the same amendment exhibit that the Acela contract does for public records, indemnity, the general procurement rules.
I'll move for approval, with the amendments that need to be made, the option number 2 on our Red Mark contract.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner McClintock, seconded by Commissioner Devine. Is there any further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to speak to the Red Mark one? Seeing none, we will vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? It is passed.
And I'll also just add that, with this boom coming in, there are permitting fees and so on that are coming in. This is the time to do this kind of stuff. We have the money to do it. And cash, borrow the money, put it on a credit card, we just, not cash, like a double bag full of singles, but I mean like we have the money in place to pay these things.
What Rick's saying is that 2 years ago you were required to spend your building fee monies on building fee things. This is a perfect way for you to spend your building fee monies.
Who's talking about Market World Realty? Go for it.
That's me, Mayor. So under unfinished business, it says Market World Realty LLC, but what you have before you on the dais is a proposed agreement for sale and purchase of real property. That real property is located at 802 East Canal Street. It's the large parcel to the east of City Hall. on the north side of State Road 60. It actually runs behind the existing park and public civic center space that you own on Northeast 5th. So if this parcel were to be purchased, you have continuous land beginning at State Road 60 and running north for 5 blocks to Northeast 5th, which is a pretty unique thing. The proposed purchase price for this land is $975,000. There would be a $10,000 deposit. I'll just kind of walk through the proposed contract terms. The deposit will be due within 5 days. There's a 45-day due diligence period. We talk about that for a minute. So there are 3 items of due diligence that the city would need to do during the due diligence period. Analyze the property for any kind of environmental concerns. We need to conduct a survey of the property. We also need to have the property appraised. Those would be all expenses you have to incur. Your manager and I have spoken with all of your professionals that would do this work, and we believe we can obtain those answers for you within the due diligence period. As far as the seller's closing costs, the sellers agreed to pay documentary stamp tax on this transaction, which is a huge amount. They've also agreed to pay for the title insurance policy, and agreed to pay all taxes for the year 2022. The buyer would pay the survey costs. So the survey costs for, what size is this apartment? So it's about 10 acres. About 10 acres. Yeah. So it would be a significant survey, but we'll have a competitive market price on that. We were able to obtain a seller warranty in the contract that there are no known environmental law violations on the property, nor are there any hazardous substances on the property, which is a wonderful concession, given that the property was used in the past for industrial activity, as many Mulberryans know. So there is an appraisal contingency in the contract, which is also a good seller concession. As you might know, your charter requires you to appraise all property that you purchase. And so if the property does not appraise out to the $975,000 purchase price, then Mulberry can walk away from it and receive this deposit back. So this contract, I apologize that it was not published as part of the agenda. This contract was literally finished negotiating today at 1 o'clock, and I was able to forward it around to each of the commissioners, but I do have a paper copy here on the dais. They would like for us to approve that contract tonight. If we do, that would start the calendar going. As you can see in the paper copy, it's been signed by the seller. So we are ready to roll if you guys are.
I take the motion to allow executive staff to go forward with negotiations and purchase.
Second.
A motion made by Commissioner Devine, seconded by Commissioner Smith. Just in case anybody in the audience doesn't know what this is the old Mulberry construction site over here across from Hardee's, basically. And this is the reason the city wants to buy that. We've been looking for land to build a new city hall, or city complex, not city hall, but city hall complex, which would include city hall and the museum and the cultural center and civic center. Yeah, and the civic center, because it's probably gonna make this current civic center all library.
Sheriff station.
And sheriff station, yeah. So that's the purpose. We were looking at land up in front of Paradise Lakes. There's about 6 acres up there, and we made an offer on that land, and people wouldn't talk to us. But, so personally, as far as George is concerned, I like this property, the location of this property better, because it's more central, what I call Mulberry. But anyway, that's what we're doing. And let's do a public hearing on this. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak to this, yay or nay, or?
Could you just restate the where again?
Yeah, the property is 802 East Canal Street. And so it's at the corner of Northeast 8th and State Road 60. And it goes all the way back to Northeast 5th Avenue.
Right in front of Ace Harbor.
You know where Infinity Tire is? And then you got the lake right next to it. This property's on the other side of the lake. I'm trying not to say pit. backs up to our current civic center. All one, then that would be all one great big piece of property, even though there is some wetlands between the two.
There's some drainage there.
So, anyway. All right, seeing nobody trying to come up here and speak yea or nay, we're gonna close the public hearing part of it. Commissioners, we have beat this to death. Is there any more comments?
Yes, before we voted, I just wanted to hear the city manager speak to it, because I'm assuming you looked over the contract as well. Are you feeling like everything that we want to be in the contract is there? Because I only just started browsing it now.
Yeah, I will tell you that the original proposal that was made, they sent a contract to us. It's a contract that's not really acceptable to municipal purposes. For us to purchase, we have to have certain things, as Drew mentioned, like the due diligence, making sure there's not contamination on the property, and making sure that there's no liens on the property and so on. So this has gone back and forth between myself, Drew, their attorney, the realtor, and everybody for 2 weeks now. Probably gone back and forth a dozen times. Finally getting something that is satisfactory to us, giving us this due diligence period. We talked to ACT Environmental about doing the phase 1 and potentially a phase 2 environmental analysis. We needed to make sure they would have enough time to perform that, which they said they should, the 45-day due diligence period. And we had actually sort of originally wanted 60 days just to give us a little wiggle room. But they kind of held their feet to the fire, and we were confident at this point that everything can be done. And the contract appears to be, Drew went through this with a fine-tooth comb 40 times. There does not appear to be anything in there that is objectionable to the city at all. It all seems to be in the favor of the city. And I've been kind of pushing Drew and pushing everybody about this just so we can get it started, we can get the process started. And of course, as you know, we'll have, and I'll bring this up later, we have the Headworks and Workstation 1 is about to begin, that's going out to bid. We have the eatery, the Depot 303 project that's going out to bid. And of course, this property here. So we're gonna have 3 major projects going on simultaneously. But coming out of COVID, and of course, as you know, we stayed open and we did the gym theater and we did a bunch of stuff during COVID, but we've been kind of stuck a little bit, waiting to get things going. These are 3 major projects that we kind of wanted to do, and now they're all coming. And this is the second of the 2 that will come before you shortly. So, yes, I'm confident. I'm sorry, it was a long way around.
Yeah, and Commissioner McClintock, just to follow up on Rick's comments, this version of the contract document is it's based on the same document we used for 303 Northwest First.
Okay.
So this is definitely a municipal approved form, and we use this for almost all of our municipal transactions because it has the things that are required for Mulberry.
Any other comments, Commissioner? You ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
All right, Mayor,
Done deal.
by that, there are the signatures will obtain later tonight.
Okay.
And we'll make sure we transmit that over to the seller. So that's wonderful.
Thank you. John, would you bring me the sign-in sheet, please, sir? Blank, blank, blank. All right, we'll start with commission comment. Coach Smith, you want to go first?
Well, actually, I don't have much to say. But with this deal that we just solidified, I'd just like to take my hat off to a city manager. I think this guy is just doing a well job of securing property, buildings, and whatever you have here, to make this city a better city. And my hat goes off to him, and I'm just so happy. I've been in a situation where you had a squabbling back and forth. No, I don't like that, I don't like this, you know. And all of us seem to be in agreement with, what he's having to offer. And I think that's great. My other, thing I like to say is that I was just so heartbroken that, we lost one of our older commissioners last week. I don't know most of you all might not have known Coach Sheridan. But he was one of the guys that was instrumental in hiring me at Mulberry High School. In fact, he gave me the head basketball job. And it was just so refreshing to visit his passing and the funeral and the ordeal we had at George's church. But I think it's well worth doing. I was just wondering, and I know we can't do this about every commissioner that served here, but I just asked, is there anything that we can do, like a resolution, something that we send to the family? It's not much of a, I shouldn't say that. It's only a son now and grandkids, isn't that right, George? So, but
And I
he was,
remember his used to take his grandson fishing over there.
yeah. But he was a cornerstone here in Mulberry for a long number of years. And I just like to make that
Because
remark.
his daughter passed away, Debbie.
Yeah, right.
The mayor actually brought to my attention, and I'm gonna bring this up a little bit later, if I can bring it up now, certainly, that if there was a, opportunity, and there may very well be, with some of those shorter streets that are next to the high school, because when you go to rename a street, you always end up getting pushed back. Oh, I don't wanna change my driver's license, I don't wanna whatever. But there's a few of those shorter streets that lead right up into the high school that maybe have only 3 or 4 homes on them. And I was gonna ask you if you would like me to pursue seeing about renaming one of those extensions that goes up right into the high school parking lot, one of those that's there. See what's involved in that, maybe naming that Phil Sheridan Way or Martin Sheridan Way, whatever. We could have another committee about how to name it, maybe. But I thought that I was gonna bring that up, so if you guys, I'll just give you a consensus from the commission, if you guys want me to pursue that, I'm happy to do that.
Well, I don't think the two of us knew him per se, so. But it'd be well, I could give you some history on it.
Yes,
So could George.
Yes, and I.
But anyway, we're thinking about it.
Formal motion or?
No.
Just consensus, I can bring something back to you, I can explore that a little bit. It's not gonna be anything real fast, I'll just let you know.
That's fine.
I'm okay with it.
Because I know the family's not expecting anything.
Right, exactly.
Is that it, Coach?
That's it, that's all.
Mr. Dolan?
Well, I want to thank Maria for her hard work in naming the new eatery. I don't have much. I had family here and they went to the Phosphate Museum, 7 and 11-year-olds, and they came back with bags of teeth and rocks, and they had a great time. And that's about, we went to the League of Cities dinner on Tuesday night, very nice dinner, enjoyed it. And I think our Mulberry had one of the highest attendance, we had 12 attendees there, so, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Devine?
Okay, I can't say I don't have a lot, but I have a little less than normal, which is a good thing. Okay, so, the motion was brought before the commission today to donate $150 to the riders at the Legion for the Wreaths Across America. And there was a concern about what are we going to get. Okay, no worries, I understand that. A couple of meetings ago, we had a Little League football team come and solicit us for a donation. And I'm still waiting to see that 3x4 banner that they said they would provide us. But the season is still young, I would think. Don't know when the season is over. So I say that going to lead into this, starting with negative and end with a positive. On the 20th, after we had that meeting, I had a hard time getting into the park. My vehicle was surrounded by several children who were telling me, you need to pay to park in a county park. That's an issue. And they were inches from my vehicle. I did not feel comfortable going forward with them that close to my vehicle. And as I proceed further in, there were 6 deputies in the park. I know we can't control their actions, but it's a direct reflection of us, in my opinion. Okay, that's the negative. Positives. I echo the sentiments about being on the committee to help name the Depot 303. Excited about the Depot 303. Excited about the new municipal complex as well. I think that pretty much consists of the comments that I have. At least it's written down on my card from League of Cities. Passing it on.
Member Clinton.
Well, good evening, everyone. I am going to go ahead and take that praise and pass it along to Chelsea because she's the one who came very prepared to our meeting. She had all kinds of word clouds and metrics, and it was wonderful. And so it was really a fun time to talk about Mulberry and trains and our new location. So yeah, I'm also excited for the project. I think it's going to be really great for our city and just kind of the next step, right? We're in this beautiful phase right now of building, and it's going to be really wonderful. Not that Mulberry already wasn't wonderful, but and so in addition to that, several of us were also at the football game, which I believe happened since our last meeting. Okay, because no one else had mentioned it. So like usually if I'm last in the line, someone else has already said it. But yeah, the Buccaneers, they sent out their street team, and they made a donation towards the new football field, and it was really a lovely time. The tailgating party, everyone was decked out with their face paint and their Mulberry, gear, and so that was really cool. Just another way that we're showing that pride in our city, and I've mentioned it before, but when I was growing up here, there was not a lot of that like outward pride and something to really say that we're shining in. But I think that just over time, we are really becoming a place to have some pride in, and we are shining in so many areas. Especially, I want to say thank you to our ladies for all the programs you're doing. Especially, the library, I was looking at, we just have programs for every single age group, and, whatever you're interested in, and, you're just still accommodating. If you're interested in sci-fi, we will put a whole program together for you, so I think that's really cool. And I was not able to make it to the Ridge League dinner, but apparently you're well represented, so that's a good thing. And besides that, looking forward to everything to come. I'll pass it on.
Good night.
First of all, I'd like to thank our city commissioner for coming to that extremely good. It's the best dinner I've ever been to, and I've been to two. And, the shrimp were huge, every great. Now, the main thing was I talked with a lot of members from other cities. And when they saw that I had my little badge on, it said I was from Mulberry. And they said, "We're from Mulberry, we've heard so much good stuff about your city." I said, "Well, it's all true." And I said, "If you really want to know why it's so true, we have a city manager who needs time." And I pointed to Rick. And, I'm so proud to be associated with him and with the rest of us, of course, but with him especially, because he has an open door policy. He'll talk to me anytime I want to, just about, because I don't do that in life. If I want to see him, he'll see me, you know, he's not too damn busy, go away, but he's always got time for me. And, that kind of policy makes for a lot of good communication, a lot of good, relationship building. And I couldn't be happier to be serving on a commission with a city manager like Rick Johnson.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate your time and effort. And then our city attorney, one of the smartest people I've ever run into. And he makes you feel like family 5 minutes after you know it. And so you can't get any better than that. And coach is coach. I mean, we went to that FLC thing and we got to talking and knowing each other pretty good. And so even though I've only been there a few months, I feel pretty well integrated into the group. And I appreciate that. I want to thank you all for that. As far as our new city complex that's going to come up in the next several years, we're going to move out of the 19th century and into the 21st. We're going to skip a whole century. And,
Pretty much.
Really interesting, so we get that done before I have to run for election again. And if I get to win, be able to sit in that new building, that'd be great. I couldn't be happier. And everybody that I talked to in my mobile home park has actually begun to pay attention to the fact that we live in the city of Mulberry. Because that park is run a lot like a stop road. And there's not a whole lot I can do for them. But I can put a little pressure on here. And I appreciate you guys being on my side. That's all I got to say right now.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Yeah. My comments are short. I'm gonna reiterate something Coach Smith said about being a good group as a whole up here on the dais. Because I remember when it wasn't.
Exactly.
And I was telling the city manager back when I started, especially when it came tax time, because Mulberry had one of the highest tax rates in the state. And when we would do the tax thing, you gotta read them, and 2 or 3 times. And there would not be an empty seat in the house because everybody was complaining because we were raising the taxes. And we even had one of these TVs used to mount outside the door there. There's a mount out there if you haven't noticed it. And people would stand out there. So it's good to have a good cohesive, and I call it a professional group. So thank you for all your hard work. And again, it all starts with this guy. Again, I enjoyed the Ridge League this week. Also, it's the first one I've been to since COVID was over, and that we didn't have box lunches. The meal was excellent. The Coach Sheridan thing hit me pretty hard. He was my high school driver's ed instructor and baseball coach. And one little side story I'll tell you, I was a little guy in high school. I weighed 110 pounds soaking wet when I graduated. And but I was his second baseman. And I guess the other team didn't attract people, because I would hit the ball just about every time I'd get up. And I'd hit it as hard as I could, but I was slow. And the ball would go right over the second baseman's head, and I'd get on first, and he'd put in a pinch runner for me, because I was slow. But I would get on base, that was my job. And, so he appreciated me and what I did, I guess, so. Other thing, I'm excited about the new municipal complex. I'm excited to see this document. Words just cannot express my feelings on this, what's going on that. Also, every September, there's a group in the county called Hope Vision. And every September, they have a mayor's roundtable, and that will be next Tuesday morning. So I will be there representing you and the city. So I look forward to that every year. It's good to, all the mayors in the whole county are there. And they have it set up so everybody gets to speak a little bit. So anyway, and with that, I'll turn it over to the city manager.
Thank you. And thank you all for your very kind words. This is all part of the team, and I've got a great team that's here 40 hours a week, plugging away. And wouldn't be successful without them. And also, you know, when we talk about the programs at the library and the cultural center and the museum, those things cost money. And you guys put that money, pump that into the budget every year. So you played a huge part in that. So I want to thank you for that. I know that they appreciate that they can dream big, crazy dreams. I also want to clarify that when the mayor said that he was really slow, he meant slow running.
Yeah.
He ran the first base.
That's what he meant. He was slow running.
That's my ball, man.
Okay, so going through here, I can cross off a couple things here. Vince Tope probably drew, gonna do that, so that's already actually done. Spoke with the folks from ACT that are preparing the bid documents for us. They originally prepared the conceptual plan of the Depot 303 for us, with the 7 eateries in there. I actually spoke with them today. They're already developing a business plan for what they're going to serve there and how many hours they want to be open and everything. So people are getting excited about it. We haven't really put anything out. They're just hearing it through the grapevine. We'll have 7 initially planned 7 specific eateries, which I always refer to as sort of an indoor food truck rally kind of a thing. And that turned into something similar to the joinery in Lakeland, which I had not been to, but the guy that developed the conceptual plan for us actually did the design work for the joinery, so he sees it. I appreciate your support on that. I think that's going to totally revitalize downtown. We've been saying this about the gem, and the gem has done wonders in the year and a half that it's been open. We anticipate bigger and better things, and a lot of this stuff is experimental, and you know what's going to draw. We're starting to see that these tribute bands and so on are the ones that are really bringing the folks in from outside the county, from within Mulberry, and all over, and you can just tell by the sales of the tickets and how fast they go and how quickly you have to get them. So that's a big deal. Met with the, we had a non-mandatory pre-bid construction meeting today, this morning, with, for the lift station 1 and the Headworks project, which we originally were given a grant loan combination. I don't know if you want to call it given since it was a loan, but we were granted a 80% grant and 20% loan through the state revolving loan fund for about $4 million. $3.2 million of that is grant, so that we don't pay for. This is something that we've needed for a long time. With no development, we've needed that, but the lift station 1 and the Headworks is where every, well, I don't know if we want to call it piece of wastewater, but some of it is pieces, but every bit of wastewater comes down and ends up there, and it ends up going through there. And we have a generator. We just put a new generator there, but the generator that was there before looked like something, an old locomotive or something. It had like a steam pipe on top of it, and then it blew up actually a couple of years ago. So it's well beyond its useful life. We met with these folks today. We're going to design something that will process everything and get it over to the wastewater plant. And again, about a $4 million project. There's a good chance with the construction costs that have gone through the roof, it's going to be more than that. So we may have to borrow some additional money to make this project work, but usually it's like 0% because of the size of our city. So hopefully it won't have to, but we'll see what the bids come in at. FERDAP, Glenn Clover spoke at the Chamber of Commerce breakfast. Part of what he does for us is he administers the Florida Recreational Development Program, FERDAP grants. We usually get at least two $50,000 grants per year. We've done things from playgrounds to fishing docks to all kinds of things with that money. Currently, our plan is to actually put a kind of a bridge over Ellis Branch, which is at Centennial Park by the library, over that waterway, and then we own the land on the other side, so there'll be potentially a gazebo there. And this is money that we've been approved for already, but he had to do a public hearing for that, so if you heard him talk about that. We're also currently applying for behind Infinity Tires by the Nature Park, actually attached to the Nature Park, some sort of a boardwalky kind of a thing that goes along the shoreline that will extend the fishing area apart from the dock, and we'll just get a little bit different along the edge. We'll see what that will support over there. If you've been by the Gem Theater or the ice cream place in the last 48 hours, you will hear that we now have music going 24 hours a day outside over there. That took a lot more. It seems like that should be the simplest thing in the world, but there's certain programs you have to get. You can't just put CDs in the thing and play or whatever, because everything stops, you know. At the 2-hour mark, are you still listening? And we don't have somebody over there to keep hitting the button. So we had to get a special program and install some stuff, but this will allow us to have music downtown, particularly like Christmas music and so on and so forth. So there is some stuff going down there right now. If you ever are down there and you don't hear it, let me know, because that means that something went awry. And of course, we're all lighting when we get around here. And we are working on getting a generator for the Gem Theater and the ice cream shop. And that's kind of, generators are 9 to 10 months out when you order at this point. So we're working on it. So I don't think I have anything else currently, other than that we're still here plugging away like we do every day. And I appreciate the input. I appreciate the positive comments from everybody. It means a lot. It means a lot to the staff, I'm sure, and they're plugging away as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you. City Attorney?
I also appreciate the comments as well. Thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoy working for Mulberry, and I appreciate the opportunity to be your attorney because you guys have some really cool stuff going on. This contract has taken a lot of my time over the last week, but there's still a lot happening. I'm happy to answer any legal questions that you guys have. A lot of it right now are matters that we're just attending to in-house and keeping things floating here during your budget month. But certainly, if there's any questions, I can answer that. That's it.
City Clerk?
Thank you.
Nothing.
I had one question on originally. You know, they said when the December meeting was gonna be in Haines City, but they never did say about next month.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to check and see.
No, it used to be every other month.
Isn't it? Is it every-
You eat every other month. That's what it used to be. I'll find out. I got a meeting
Okay.
sometime.
Well, if there's an October meeting or November meeting, we
talking with her, and she's talking about how city commissioners should get involved in some of these different boards that they have. Like, what is your passion? Is it infrastructure? Is it, downtown redevelopment? And they have boards that you can go to, the city can ask you to go to, voluntarily go to, and you can learn all about how to improve those things. I don't see.
Most of those boards are on the Florida League, though, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, not the reason.
She's the Florida League
Yeah.
president. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And, but I was thinking, I don't know, we have a strong manager, mayor, former city government.
Right.
Why would the commissioners even want to be on those boards?
But you learn a lot.
Yeah,
Huh?
You do learn a lot by being on a board.
Yeah, but the commissioners don't really read those kind of cities.
Well, we don't like to call it strong manager, mayor, we like to call it strong manager, slow mayor.
Yeah.
You're not gonna put that down.
We can also bring recommendations though, even though we
Yeah.
can't make the final decision, we can say like, hey, you know, I heard this in a meeting, can
This is an idea.
you
Yeah.
correct?
So you just contact FLC and put your name down.
I think you get online.
It's great for networking.
That's great. You should start getting a lot of emails for those things, they're always
They're always,
blasting everybody.
yeah, they're always on stuff for you.
I keep getting emails from people from the FLC convention, when I next
Oh, yeah.
talk to you.
That's what you gave me.
I'll bring your cards.
There you go. You learned.
He told me, he said, this collector's stuff, and don't talk to
Get
each
your pens and
other.
Anything else before we close, commissioners? And we stand adjourned. Thanks for coming, sir.